Hello there, and welcome to the EDC Empire. Today we'll be taking a look at the Knafs Lander 1, designed by Ben Peterson and manufactured in China. The Lander 1 has a liner lock and can be deployed with these thumb studs and runs on bearings, which give it fantastic action. The blade is made of D2 and has a stonewash finish. It's in a drop point shape and is flat ground. The handle material is G10, but the Lander 1 has what they call fast swap scales, so they're held in by only these 4 screws, as well as the pocket clip and filler tab, making them really easy to swap out. The overall length of the Lander 1 when it's open is 6.32 inches, and the overall length when it's closed is 3.62 inches. The overall depth when folded at the widest point is 1.06 inches, and the width of the pivot is 0.42 inches. Comparing this to a Spyderco Tenacious, which has a width at the pivot of 0.5 inches, you can see it is noticeably smaller. Getting into some size comparisons, we have the Spyderco Tenacious as well as the QSP Penguin. And as you can see with these, the Lander is noticeably smaller than both of them, especially the Tenacious. I would say the Penguin is kind of on the average end of folding pocket knives, so the Lander is a little bit smaller than that. We also have the Civivi Lozar and the Ozark Trail Knife. What we can see here is kind of a similar thing. The Lander is quite a bit smaller than both of these, especially the Lozar, which is a longer knife in general. The blade length on the Lander 1 is 2.7 inches, and the edge length is 2.58 inches. The blade stock is 0.1 inches, which is a little bit on the smaller end of the average blade stock, I would say, which is about 0.12 inches. And it tapers down to a nice slicey edge. The weight of the Lander 1 is 2.4 ounces, giving it a pretty nice blade to weight ratio. Now getting into some of my thoughts about the Lander 1. So one of the first things I noticed is the thumb studs work very well. They add on to the really incredible action already, just making it easy to deploy, and they're ambidextrous as well, opening up the ways you might want to carry them, or who might be able to carry them easily depending on whether you're right-handed or left-handed. The Lander 1 has really great action. It's easy to flip open, you can drop shut very well, and it has a nice noise while both deploying and closing it. The stonewash on the blade, I would say it's very nice as well. They've done a good job, especially at this price point, and with that, the D2 is well heat treated, which is really great to see and definitely has improved my enjoyment of this knife. The liner lock has a very good consistent lockup. It's about there every time, and I haven't had any issues with it trying to close while I'm using it when it's not supposed to, so all good there. My only real complaint about the Lander 1, it's an overall strong, very strong knife, but the weakest point of it is the accessibility of the liner lock. It's not the most comfortable to access, kind of a little bit in your way while you're trying to press it down, and it's not necessarily easy, especially if you have larger fingers or are wearing gloves, but it's manageable for sure, and I wouldn't worry about it too much if you're considering getting the Lander. The pocket clip here, I would say it's a pretty nice pocket clip overall. It's worked well in my pocket, the clamp force isn't too much, and I haven't experienced it falling out or anything either, so overall very good. The bill hasn't gotten caught on anything, and I think it works nicely proportionally to the rest of the size of this knife. It's also not too uncomfortable when I'm holding the knife. I haven't really noticed it or been bothered by it unless I'm thinking about it, trying to figure out whether it does hurt or is bothersome while I'm trying to grip down on the knife. I've mentioned this a little bit already. The really cool feature about the Lander are these fast swap scales. So held in at very few points, but of course they're held in securely, and it makes it really easy to swap out. There's hundreds of different aftermarket scales to choose from if you're looking to customize this original version, as well as free CAD files from Ben Peterson, so you can make your own scales, which is super duper awesome. The Lander 1, this version anyways, is about $45. The $45 versions are the cheapest, and they have D2 blade and G10 scales. Of course, you can customize the scales after if you don't like any of the original options. And there are also other steel and handle materials for the Lander 1 overall. The next cheapest is the one with the 14C28N steel, coming in at about $60. That's the standard version. D2 is more the budget, but there's also S35VN for $150. So the Lander series has 4 different models. This is, of course, the Lander 1. The Lander 2 is larger than the Lander 1 and has a crossbar lock, and the Lander 3 kind of merges some of the great features about both the Lander 1 and 2, in that it's the same size as the Lander 1, but it has a crossbar lock like the Lander 2. The Lander 4 is a pocket carry fixed blade, so definitely some various options in the whole Lander category. All of those models have a different blade steel, blade finish, scale material, and scale color options, so look into any or all of them if you are interested. Overall, I highly recommend the Lander 1 as it has really great action and is super customizable on top of many other great features. If you own any of the Landers, we would love for you to comment down below to let us know what you think, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching.